Big wins for the men and women yesterday, and another Big Ten honor for Draymond Green. We'll delve into all of that. And man, are the Detroit Tigers getting younger this year. 2 new fielders in Lakeland today, and we'll come back to you to utter the 7 greatest words in the English language on day 1 for the Tigers in Lakeland. Today is the day, my friends, I get to utter the 7 greatest words in the English language. Pitchers and catchers report to spring training. We stick with Spartan basketball for our 6 sports play of the week. We do this each and every Monday at 6. Brought to you as always by our friends at Champion Chrysler Jeep Dodge. And we go back to the men's game for this one. Second half yesterday against Purdue, the Spartans on the break and about to seal the deal on this victory, and freshman Brandon Dawson went NBA-style tomahawk jam. Wow, that is impressive. Reminded me of the days Jason Richardson used to throw them down here at MSU and still does in the NBA. That's a big-time windmill dunk. Our 6 sports play of the week. And Tom Izzo, well, he noticed it too.
I got to admit, I thought he was just going to lay it up.
Well, the night after the Michigan State football team lost to Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game, Tom Izzo and his Spartans eased a little bit of that pain here at the Breslin Center with a huge win over Nebraska-Omaha. Right after the Michigan State men's basketball team beat Michigan in East Lansing, the Lady Spartans and Wolverines had a battle of their own right here in Chrysler Arena. Michigan State won't be getting any roses this year, but they accepted an invitation to Tampa Bay, Florida, where they will meet the Georgia Bulldogs in the Outback Bowl. Michigan State students have plenty of area to exercise, whether they're running outside on these sidewalks or they can work out at one of the 3 intramural facilities on campus. Kendra Johnson entered the season ready to break into the record books. She's only 103 points away from 1,000, and if she keeps her average of 11.8 points per game from last year, she'll become the 22nd 1,000-point scorer in Michigan State history during the 9th game of the season against Eastern Michigan. I sure do. A prince by the name of Fielder, and he will be a fielder for the Tigers, not just a designated hitter. He was introduced today, and you'll hear from the $214 million man, and it won't cost you a dime. Up next in sports. Big night for Tom Izzo last night. Victory number 400 puts him in a special class. And he may have said it doesn't mean much, but from his emotion after the game, you could easily tell it did mean something to the 17-year Spartan bench boss. And it was Izzo on his bench moments before tip-off, contemplating what turned out to be a memorable evening for him. Moments later, he moved to the opponent's bench to share some pregame time with one of his favorites, Minnesota coach Tubby Smith. But Tubby stopped smiling when the game started. Austin Thornton clears a pass to a wide-open Derek Nix, who throws down a first-half slam that helped propel MSU to a double-digit lead. Izzo, known for wizardry drawing up inbounds plays, here's one at the end of the half to Draymond Green at the buzzer. It's money, and the Spartans led by 10 at the half. Spartans won at 68-52 for career win number 400 for Izzo, who was clearly touched by the emotion of the moment and reflected on the night afterward.
They asked me on TV what went through your mind.
A few moments after those Izzo comments, his players interrupted his press conference to file in from the locker room and present their coach with a commemorative basketball marking his 400th win. All, of course, here at MSU. Folks at Penn State and all over still mourning the death of legendary former football coach Joe Paterno, who passed yesterday morning at the age of 85. MSU basketball coach Tom Izzo paid tribute to Joe Pa today, as did former MSU football coach George Perlis, who was a close personal friend. And we asked George how yesterday's news hit him.
Like a ton of bricks.
The family said today Paterno will be buried Wednesday with 3 days of public memorials planned before his burial. From that, we transition into our 6 sports play of the week. We go to the 4th quarter of the Giants-49ers game. Kyle Williams with a crucial blunder on a 4th quarter punt off his knee in a mad scramble. And look who picks it up for the Giants, former Spartan wide receiver Devin Thomas, who should have been awarded a touchdown for this, but the whistle blew the play dead. It led to the go-ahead TD for New York. Then in overtime, it's Kyle Williams again on a punt return, the fumble, and guess who pops on top of this for the Giants? Devin Thomas again, to set up the game-winning field goal. You see on the replay another former Spartan, Greg Jones, on the field chasing down the return man, but Devin Thomas, 2 big special teams plays that helped put the Giants in the Super Bowl. Our 6 sports play of the week. New York to face New England in 2 weeks. The first game between Michigan State and Wisconsin this year was decided by a Hail Mary pass as time expired.
The runner did cross the line.
We've been able to win 3 of the last 4, And I think, again, that gives us confidence as we move into the next phase here.
That next phase will come when the two teams meet again in the first Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis.
It's one of those one-shot things. We got one shot here, so we're going to take our best shot.
Well, the Spartans are heading to Indianapolis, and even though they bleed green and white, they're hoping to come back to East Lansing wearing some rose red.
It's an opportunity, obviously, to move on and go to the Rose Bowl.
Coming here, that was our goal, to be Big Ten champs and playing a Rose Bowl or a national championship, and we got that opportunity. It's the biggest dream come true.
Even though MSU already beat Wisconsin earlier this year, they're a 9.5-point underdog heading into Lucas Oil Stadium, but that doesn't bother them.
It's not all bad. We're the little guy. Everybody wants the little guy to win.
We have to win the battle in the mind and believe, first and foremost, that we can beat Michigan, believe that we can get to a Rose Bowl, and someday it's going to happen.
The Spartans haven't made a trip to Pasadena since 1988, the year many of the seniors were born.
We've been talking about this for a long time. It's the first game, and to get this championship and get to this Rose Bowl, man, I mean, the world.
They've been talking about it for a long time, and looking at reminders like this even longer. For Focal Point, I'm Andrea Nelson. They were seconds away from smelling the roses.
Running into the kicker. Number 9, defense.
Let me tell you, this is a really nice job by him because he leaves the leg up there, as a punter is taught.
But they ended up in the hands of Wisconsin.
It's tough. Came close 2 years in a row. Don't get to go. It's tough.
It's tough to deal with it, because you're going to replay a lot of things in your mind because you are so close. It could be one little thing.
Michigan State won't be getting any roses this year, but they accepted an invitation to Tampa Bay, Florida, where they will meet the Georgia Bulldogs in the Outback Bowl.
I've experienced it firsthand. It's a great bowl, great city. I think it's a bowl game that's always going to match two top teams up, one from the Big Ten and one from the Southeast Conference. It's going to be very competitive.
Michigan State will play Mark Richt and his Georgia Bulldogs, a team they lost to in the Capital One Bowl in 2008, and one D'Antonio thinks will match up well against the Spartans.
The two defenses, I think, are very similar in terms of, at least statistically, they seem similar. The turnover margin, I think they want to run the ball. We want to run the ball and be balanced. So there's a lot of similarities.
Even though MSU is looking ahead to Georgia, the Big Ten championship loss and the competitiveness of college football hasn't gone far from D'Antonio's mind.
I think there's a lot of parity. I think the difference in winning and losing sometimes hangs by a thread. You could certainly see that in our game the other night. So a lot of parity, a lot of coaches that are very good coaches schematically and fundamentally that are getting their guys to play at a high level. And so because of that, I think you see a lot of competitive games.
With a 10-3 record, D'Antonio has become one of the coaches he praises, and his team hopes to continue that success by ending the season on a win.
You guys seem to struggle a little bit offensively tonight. What do you need to improve on going into Thursday's game against Western Michigan?
Just do a better job of our flow offensively. I felt we were a little tentative. I don't think our bigs did a very good job of scoring and easy buckets in there for us tonight.
And LaKendra Johnson had a great night, double-double, 14 points and a career-high 20 rebounds. How key was her performance for you guys?
Well, it's going to be key for us, there's no question. I mean, she's always been a great rebounder for us, and that's something we're going to need from her night in and night out.
Okay, great. Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Michigan State, they have a great camaraderie among their players, but they just did not play with enthusiasm on Sunday. They had a great practice on Monday, so they're hoping that carries over tonight. Their key for tonight's game is their transition offense. They know if they can push the ball up and down the court, they can come away with the win.
For Milwaukee, they're coming into this game with their best start in 7 seasons at 4-0, so they have a lot to play for.
They do. They're carrying off the momentum that they gained in the second half of last year, and they have 10 upperclassmen who are really doing that for them. They have a great defense, and Rob Jeter knows that if he can limit that offensive transition that Michigan State is trying to utilize, they can be successful here at the Breslin Center. And that's exactly how Michigan State wanted to start this game off, coming off of a game Sunday against Arkansas Little Rock. They did not have that kind of enthusiasm, and Adrian Payne makes sure to put one away pretty quick for the Spartans. Derek Nix able to drop all that weight that he did in the offseason. He has really picked up his quickness that he's able to move around that block, and you just saw an example of that right there.
I think that in this type of situation, there's only 2.2 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock, so that would leave, if Eastern ran down that shot clock to 30 seconds. It leaves 2.2 seconds for Michigan State to try to make a play. I think if they don't get a steal out of this out of bounds, they let a couple seconds run off the clock and then look to foul so they can have a chance at a good shot to win this game. Madison Williams out for the season, so you're going to see different players rotating into the 4 and 5 position to try to find someone who can make up for the loss of Williams.